Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to our presentation. We are going to get started in just a second. Please make sure that your mic is muted. And if you have any questions whatsoever during the program or at the end when we have our Q&A session, then please put them in the comments box to your right. Hi, everyone, again. My name is Felicia Steele. I'm the Eastern Regent and the chair of the Partnerships Committee. And Amy Gates is also presenting with me tonight. And Amy Gates is the Midwestern Regent and is the chair of the Scholarships Committee. So we're here to talk to you about how Sigma Tau Delta pays you back through scholarships and internships.
I'm glad so many of you can join us tonight. Thank you for being here. First of all, we have so many wonderful scholarships, and this is a great cycle to apply for. We have 4 different cycles: fall, winter, spring, and summer, but by far, spring cycle is our largest cycle of the year. We have something for everyone this season to apply for. So you'll apply for, your application window opens March 10th, goes through April 7th in award spring, and we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. And we'll announce awards in June, and you'll find out about those. And the funds will then be dispersed to your college where you'll be attending in the fall, sometime in August. So as you are thinking about applying, first of all, as with anything, read the instructions and read the prompts carefully, because following instructions gets you a long way. So follow those directions, work through the prompts, plan ahead, because you want to do the best job you can. They're not due until 4 p.m. Central Time, April 7th, but don't wait until the last minute. Let yourself have time to work in multiple sessions, see what's going to be required of you, what kinds of pieces of writing you'll need to pull together, what kinds of data you want to put together for yourself so you can do a good job. But you also want to give your recommenders some time to think about their letters, because they will write a better letter of recommendation for you if you give them some time. Their letters are due a week after your application, but ask them early, tell them why you're asking, give them a sense of what you think they can say about you. We will be having a roundtable about writing and requesting and writing letters of recommendation. So that would be appropriate for both students and faculty advisors at convention. So watch for that in your convention information. We have, as I said, a lot of scholarships, and you can see the full list here. I won't walk through all of them because it's just too many, but I do want to point out the 1924 scholarship. This is brand new. It is to celebrate our 100th anniversary. So you will might be interested in that. It's new. It's for current undergrads who exemplify the mission of the society. So you want to emphasize your dedication to the local, regional, and or international society. This is all about being kind of the super Sigma Tau Deltan, and it's our only scholarship that's really available for sophomores through seniors. As long as you're going to be enrolled as an undergraduate or a graduate in the fall, then you can apply for that. And then look at each of the other scholarships online to see what those requirements are. And in fact, here you go. When you go look at english.org, and you can go to awards, and you can see this overview. And once you click on each of them, they give the specific details about each of the scholarships, awards, and grants.
Thank you, Amy, for mentioning the roundtables. That was a detail that I neglected to do at the beginning because I started to sneeze uncontrollably just as we began. But there will also be other roundtables at the convention, including roundtables that feature internship winners. So there are going to be a number of opportunities to take advantage of. Now, Sigma Tau Delta uses a system called Award Spring that lots of colleges and universities around the country also use. So you may have grown familiar with it from that experience as well. So the most important thing to remember is that you should engage with the system early, long before your application is due. There is going to be a general application, and that general application will determine what you're eligible for. And then there are follow-up questions for each specific type of thing that you're going to apply for. You may find yourself eligible for multiple programs, and so you'll have this kind of master application that will include all of these different pieces and parts. You don't upload faculty recommendations yourself. You simply give us their contact information. Please make sure that you have accurate contact information for your recommenders, and they will receive an email from the central office that gives them instructions to complete and submit their letters. It's a portal-based system. You do have to register for AwardSpring, so you want to make sure that you have an account. And here's what your landing page, your dashboard, looks like. And so it shows you how far along you are in the process of completing the application, and you can do it a little bit at a time, so you don't have to complete it all in one sitting. This is what the application screen looks like. It'll bring you through a logic tree where you'll answer yes or no to different kinds of questions, and then it will send you to the next screen that it makes sense for how you've answered. So if you are a senior, you're not going to be eligible for the junior scholarship, etc.
Each year we have essay prompts that go along with your application, and those are always tied to the convention theme in some way, the upcoming convention theme. So in both of these prompts, you only need to choose one, so read them carefully and decide which one makes sense, which one you think you can answer best, but they both tie into the theme of one of ours. They're not terribly long essays, but they give us a sense of what you have to say and how you write. So you do want to pay some attention to us. So wow us with whatever you come up with.
Okay, so the Partnerships Committee coordinates all of our internship programs. And we're going to start with the program that has the most flexibility. Sigma Tau Delta offers an internship stipend that supplements any kind of low-paying or non-paying internship that you might find in your own community and that you secure on your own. And so you can apply to this in every single cycle, and there can be up to $1,500 of supplemental funding for your internship. You do have to be an active chapter member, and this cannot be part of your existing degree requirements, and it cannot support a graduate assistantship. So for example, this would be something like if you got an internship with a local arts organization, or if you got an internship with a hospital communications office, right? This would not necessarily be something that is like student teaching or another on-campus opportunity. Now, we have tips for all of these applications, although many of them are very similar. But for the internship stipend, please make sure your resume is well formatted. I've learned from former students who work in big technology industries that sometimes a more simply formatted resume is to your advantage. So something that is just one column rather than multiple columns, and lots of great graphic design, because that kind of resume is more easily read by a computer. So when you go to submit real jobs or jobs after your internship, it'll be more readable. But make sure that you address the question of how this internship is going to help you grow intellectually and professionally. You are going to need to submit a budget. And so you need to make sure that you explain how this funding is beneficial to you and that you are clear about your financial need. Like with everything else, our recommendation letters are due a week after. We do have one constraint with the internship stipend. At least one of your letters must be from a college faculty member. If you have a professional letter, that is fine, but at least one of them needs to be from someone at your institution. Make sure that you articulate to your recommenders what you're hoping that they can articulate about you and about your professional goals in this letter. Also, with all of our applications, make sure that you make your contributions to Sigma Tau Delta explicit, either in your cover letter or your resume, or if there are short answer questions. We have partnerships with a number of organizations. The first one we're going to talk about is the National Council of Teachers of English. This is a summer communications internship. And this is for students who have an interest in social media content generation, event planning, or copywriting. This intern will assist with the planning for and the communication about NCTE's convention in November, which is a huge, huge event. And this is a remote internship that's 15 hours a week for 6 weeks. It begins in July, and there are combined stipends from Sigma Tau Delta and NCTE for $1,300. With all of your internship applications, you're going to write a cover letter, and a cover letter is an argument that basically is that they should hire you because, right? And what are you bringing to the opportunity, and why is that opportunity important for you? You'll include a resume or a CV. A CV is an elongated resume that is used in education. So NCTE is happy to have applications from teaching candidates as well as from people who are interested in going into professional fields. And you need one letter of recommendation that must be from your chapter advisor, a professor of English, or a professor of journalism. And again, make your contributions to Sigma Tau Delta clear. This is our newest program. We are very, very excited to announce that we have made a partnership with created a partnership with the Modern Language Association, which you are all familiar with from MLA format. But the office that students will be working with is their professional services office. So this is really a very good opportunity for students who are interested in working in the nonprofit sector. It can be hybrid or remote. If people are in the New York City area, they can spend 1 day a week in New York City if you are nearby. It's 15 hours a week for 6 weeks. It begins in mid-June. Now, for the MLA, you are going to be given your stipend by payment through the Modern Language Association. So this is an internship that Sigma Tau Delta sponsors, but MLA will pay you. Same sorts of things, right? Why is it important? With both NCTE and MLA and Penguin and Norton and all the other programs that we have internships with, it's important to make sure that you make your connection and that you make a connection with the organization, right? That you make it clear why you're a good fit for these internships. Now, W.W. Norton has been working with Sigma Tau Delta for 3 years now, and Norton is the only employee-owned publishing company in the United States, and this internship is with the college rhetoric and composition division of the publishing company. So this is for students who want to gain experience in college textbook publishing and who have specific interest in writing curricula. So this is a 20-hour-a-week position. Norton pays $15 an hour, and then there's a stipend. This can be remote or in person, depending on your availability. And there are going to be two portions to this application. You will submit an application to Sigma Tau Delta, and that application will determine whether or not you receive priority consideration as an interview candidate. Norton does not guarantee that it hires a Sigma Tau Delta member, but Sigma Tau Delta members have priority interviewing. So, and then as soon as we know what their application deadline is internally, you will resubmit your application to their internal system. Okay. Now, there are two short essay questions that you really do need to take seriously and that are not necessarily things that you will repeat in your cover letter. You're going to talk about your leadership and your experience. This is where you really need to highlight what you have done with Sigma Tau Delta. And then also articulate your career aspirations and your alignment with WW Norton's mission. This is where it's really important in these two essays to talk about why you're interested in college publishing. This is not a publisher that is publishing trade fiction, right? They're publishing textbooks, and you have to really make that clear. Now, there are three other internship opportunities during the winter cycle, right? So in the future, there are going to be Sigma Tau Delta journal internships. And then we have 2 cycles of applications for Penguin Random House. In the summer application cycle, you are going to be applying for the following. Oh no, I got this wrong. In the winter cycle, you are going to be applying for the following year's full year. I know I'm getting all of this wrong. Penguin's internship pattern works differently. So whereas other companies are going to be hiring summer interns in the next month and a half, they're looking for their next academic year applicants. And then in the winter, they're going to be looking for the following summers. So it's a complicated schema. But make sure that you check footnotes, which is our newsletter, and our social media posts and the websites for updates and new opportunities. We did not include the Lambda literary internship. There are other programs that are coming live all the time.
All right, so these are some links to key web pages that will help you out. One of the questions I have seen that has been asked is, this being recorded? And it is, so you'll be able to watch it later, but you'll also receive the PowerPoints, which make the hyperlinks a lot more usable. You'll be able to check out each of these opportunities.
And then here's an overall schema of all of the internships that we've talked about tonight, but that first link is the most important because that gives a listing of all the internships that we offer. Now, please enter any questions that you might have into the comments box. The private chat is a little bit, that's private stuff that comes straight to us. But the comments will be questions that everybody can see. And so this will be helpful in getting some more information.
Nice. For the question that's up on the screen about when full-time graduate students in the fall would apply, it's the same cycle. If you're applying for something in this spring cycle, the application window opens on March 10th and closes on April 7th. And that's the same whether you're an undergraduate or a graduate, or going to be a graduate student, or are a current graduate student. So they vary. So the question on the screen is, how much scholarship money can we earn from one of these awards? And they vary quite a lot. So that's why you want to look at the awards page, the overview of the scholarships at the Sigma Tau Delta website, and then click through and read each of them. Our largest award, the William C. Johnson Distinguished Scholarship Award, is up to $6,000. So that is a very impressive and helpful award if you're the winner of that. But we have a big range.
Yeah, so the Penguin internship is not we do not have applications in every single cycle. So if you go to the mainenglish.org website and you click the internships tab, then you'll see when all of our cycles, all of our internship applications happen. And so the Penguin Random House internships have deadlines in for the summer of the next year, right? In the summer of this coming year. So, for example, there will be a cycle for the summer 2026 in June of 2025. And then the Penguin Random House for the fall and spring 2025 and 2026, that cycle has just closed. So you would be applying for the following academic year next January. I hope that helps.
So this is Felicia, yeah, please.
This is the brand new program. I hope that those of you who come to convention will get an opportunity to meet our director of the National English Honor Society, Chris Lockwood. We all just travel behind in his wake as he sets the world on fire. So this is a new program that he has negotiated with Cambridge University in Britain. And so I believe that the Gritton, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, college program has a separate application from the Sigma Tau Delta, the Sigma Tau Delta scholarship application for faculty participants. I believe that's correct.
I think that's right. All right, so the question here for the William C. Johnson Scholarship, that a paper originally submitted as coursework needs to be submitted. Would creative writing pieces for classes count? Or only traditional academic papers? And we are looking for academic papers here. I think so, right? So would you be able to apply for a graduate journalism program? And I don't know why not, unless you know something I don't know, Dr. Steele.
No. When you look at our graduate school applications, this is for students who are just applying for graduate school writ large. And you do have the obligation to explain what the relevance of the program is to fostering the discipline of English, including literature, writing, and literacy. But I believe that we have had students who have applied for a whole variety of graduate programs in the past. We've had long ago and far away. I know I've read applications for the first year of law school where students made the argument about public policy. And so I think that a graduate program in journalism would certainly apply.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a good question. I'll start and then let Dr. Steele take over. So as a new member, it's always important. We do appreciate your contributions to Sigma Tau Delta. And we appreciate you and your recommenders saying something about it. Sometimes we get applications that don't mention Sigma Tau Delta, don't even mention that a person is a member. And so those don't tend to fare as well, at least in that portion of the rubric. But we also recognize that as you're getting started, you haven't had as much opportunity or time to get involved. So say what you've done. And if what you've done has been a regular attender at meetings and you've had some ideas for social events, that's fine. Explain that you're getting started and that you're excited about the future, and that's what you can contribute at this point. Next year you'll have a little more. So don't stop yourself from applying because you don't think you've done enough, but do highlight what you've done.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that also demonstrate the connection between Sigma Tau Delta's values and mission and vision to what you're doing elsewhere on campus and in your community, right? If you have just been inducted into Sigma Tau Delta, but you've been a literacy volunteer in your local library for all of high school and part of college, or whatever it is that has been seeking to transform the world with words, make that case as well in your application. I do want to just very briefly say about internships that especially the publishing internships are very highly competitive. So I encourage people to apply to them, but at the same time, you should also be looking for publishing internships in your local communities and in your on your campuses, your school literary magazines, your the magazines that are published by your local health systems, all of those kinds of internships as well, because often a company like Penguin Random House wants people to have had prior internship experience. And I know that doesn't really seem fair at all, but it is one of those things where use the preparation of this internship application to help you to cast your net more widely as well.
So how to contribute to Sigma Tau Delta? Let me count the ways. It kind of depends on what your chapter does. If they're an active chapter, it might be easier to contribute. If you're having regular meetings and you're doing activities and fundraisers, show up for those things. At the very least, be there and offer some ideas. We just finished our book sale today here on campus, so people were toting books, selling books. Be what you can. When you have a chance to be an officer, take up one of those officer positions and take on some leadership. If your chapter is not terribly active, this might be an opportunity for you to suggest some things. See if your advisor would be willing to do a little more, let you do a little more and let you spearhead some ideas. This is one of those things where you can write a good application if you're doing something. You don't have to change the world completely with words, but change your little corner of it, do something, and then let us know about it, because we don't know unless you tell us what you're doing. But yeah, I think those are the great ways locally. As you're thinking about beyond that, if you can come to convention, if you're planning to come to convention, talk to the student leaders, find out what they do, what those kinds of positions are. There are amazing opportunities that take a little more of your time, but give you a lot of experience. So that gets you a bigger platform in which you can be active.
Oh, yeah. So, Caitlin, this one is a toughie, and I'll just pop ahead because Amy has been answering a lot of the questions, right, about, the service to Sigma Tau Delta. So, students who are in 5-year degrees, especially, wind up with some challenges in terms of how they are categorized. So, one of the things that I encourage you to do is to look at the descriptors for each one of the scholarships, right? So, a student who is in their senior year, there are lots of different ways of describing that seniorness, right? So, someone who is in their 3rd year of classes can apply for a senior scholarship next year, right? But often a student who is in their 4th year is also, to a certain degree, going to be eligible for that I mean, this is something we've actually talked about a great deal on the scholarships committee. And now I suddenly feel like I'm talking out of school.
Well, so if you're a junior, if you're classified by your university as a junior, you would apply for the junior scholarship, and it would aid you in the next year, which might be your senior year. If you're currently a senior, then you should apply for the senior scholarship if you're going to be enrolled in the next semester. So this is, as you were saying, if you have one of those degrees that takes 5 years to complete, or life has made it so that you're taking 5 years to complete, that's a great opportunity. So you're a senior now, and you're still going to be paying for a senior year next year, then the senior scholarship is the place for you. If you are graduating and you're going on to graduate school, then you're going to look ahead to the first year graduate scholarship.
Mm-hmm. So yes, Natalia, you are notified if you have not been selected for an internship. So when you go to the deadlines page, one of the things that you'll see is that there is a deadline, or there's a date when applications open, when they're due, and when the award date takes place. So people are notified no matter whether they get happy news or they get our regrets, right? So you do learn this no matter what. For some of the internships, they do accept alumni member applications. So for the Penguin Random House internship, students are eligible if they are, hold on. I just had a little moment of terror. So they are eligible if they are in a graduate program, whether they are full-time or part-time. For W.W. Norton, it is also undergraduate or, here we go. With W.W. Norton, you may be an active student or an alumni student. So if you are a recent graduate or an alumni member, then you're eligible for the W.W. Norton scholarship. For the internship stipend, you must be an enrolled student. And as you do for, you do have to be an active student for the MLA and NCTE internship. So it's only the Norton program where alumni members are eligible.
I don't think we have anything that would award you funding by summer session, because our awards won't be made until after that point. You wouldn't hear about awards until June 2nd. So depending on when your master's program starts, it probably has already started by that point. Does that seem correct?
Well, I mean, the thing is that, one of the things that happens at convention is that we have our committee meetings where we talk about the rules. And so this is a case that Amy and I can bring back to the convention and say that a student asked a completely rational question. There are lots of master's programs that begin in the summer. And so we can discuss this with our committees. But I think as our rules are right now, the only summer program scholarships that we have are for summer programs and summer travel courses that are distinct from a student's typical on-campus program.
Presuming that you were going to be continuing your master's program into the fall, you're starting in the summer, then go ahead and apply. If you win one of those, you will get your money in August, so that can work forward, or However, that if you still owe, I guess, for the summer, maybe they'll apply it to your bill, but we wouldn't be able to award it before the start of your program. Our time frame for short-term study abroad. Short-term study abroad programs happening this spring or fall. Let me make sure I'm telling you the right answers to this, because even though I am the chair of this committee, I lose track of some of these. So the short-term study abroad scholarships mean you need to plan to study abroad in a certified undergraduate program coming up. So successful, no, that's fall. Spring applications can be used from the time of the upcoming summer term through, get this right, through the end of the subsequent spring semester. So really anytime this summer all the way through spring, if you're going to be traveling abroad on a short-term study abroad. Mm-hmm. And that is in the description. So I just wisely just went to our English.org site and found out what we have to say about that.
Mm-hmm. You need to apply for everything through Award Spring unless there's some kind of brand new program that we have to get off the ground right this second. But everything that is listed on English.org goes through Award Spring. The internships, that is a really good question. So for the MLA internship, that is restricted to undergraduate students at this time. This is the first time that we are running it, and the other programs are all open to graduate students. Or the other, the two publishing company programs are open to graduate students. NCTE is also limited to undergraduate students. But we do not have any specific internship that is targeted explicitly and only to graduate students.
Well, what day of the month are we on? We're on the 6th today, and the cycle doesn't open until March 10th. So you may have started in a previous cycle. Is that possible? So you really should not be able to get in for the spring cycle until the 10th. So if you filled something out before, that would have been for a previous cycle. Or this just in from Jessica McCall, who does all of our back end stuff with Award Spring and is amazing. She says you might have gotten in when we were testing. So we did have it live and we were all testing various scenarios. So you might have been a test case without knowing it, but you'll have to start again on March 10th when it really opens.
Nadia, I don't know, but as we just said, we do have folks from the central office watching, so perhaps they will know when the scholarships for the Cambridge University program come through. I do not know.
That one doesn't fall under either of our committees, so we're not specialists.
Yeah, so I apologize, we don't have more information.
If you were to email for help, then it is Chris Lockwood who is overseeing that, according to Jessica. So we could get that information for you if you check with the central office. The two of us are not the right people to ask.
Right. And then the general application, again, I'm guessing that you mean the general scholarship and internship application, Sarah. So again, this you can get to all of our awards applications through English.org. You go to our awards tab and then click Award Spring, and it will take you to the, you'll eventually get to the right spot. The direct link to AwardSpring is english.awardspring.com, and I'll put that in the chat as well.
So when you go, I'll just add to that, when you go to the AwardSpring page on english.org, right now it says the Spring 2025 AwardSpring Open cycle will open March 10th. Gives you the dates. The link to access will only be accessible during that award period. So it's not up there right now. You'll have to wait until the 10th, and then on that page the link will appear.
Okay. Natalia, that's a good question about the internships. So the internships that we have with our partners, with MLA, NCTE, WW Norton, and Penguin Random House, are all primarily remote internships. So they do not require any on-site time. So they do not have relocation built into them. When you apply for an internship stipend, if you are, let's say that you are in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and your internship is in Albuquerque, right? That's a half-hour drive an hour drive and a 45-minute train ride. You could build a budget that had the transportation expenses that you would need to get from Santa Fe to Albuquerque, and you would put that into your budget up to $1,500. But there are no supplemental relocation or transportation. There's no supplemental transportation or relocation assistance in any of our internship programs beyond the internship stipend, where you provide that information for your budget. Yeah.
Well, I didn't. Are you at? So, are you continuing as a graduate student? If you are, then you should check with your new program, your new school, to see if they have a chapter of Sigma Tau Delta. And graduate students are welcome to be members of, both undergraduate and graduate students can be members of the same chapter. If you are not going to be enrolled, then you kind of have that alumni status with your original chapter. But I'm not sure, are there other scenarios that I should be thinking about?
Well, I think that, one way to continue to be involved in our alumni network is by participating in alumni opportunities. Again, on english.org, there is an alumni tab that shows that gives links for joining this thing called Discord, which I don't really understand and I'm vaguely frightened of as an old lady, and our Facebook groups and things like that. But I would also encourage you to make yourself a resource to whatever Sigma Tau Delta chapter you are nearest to. So, for example, today I had 2 alumni of Sigma Tau Delta and our English department who came to speak to students in my class. So there are lots of different ways for you to stay engaged as a resource, as a member, as a volunteer. There are lots of chapters in the country that do things like fairs or volunteer programs or have readings or other kinds of events. And if you're not close to an institution where you graduated from, check to see if you have an institution near you that has an active chapter, and get in touch with them and see if there's any way that you can be a resource or participate in their events. And I'm sure that they would be happy to have you. We definitely appreciate having alumni participate in our events.
Well, congratulations, first of all. I'm not sure what the question is. You could apply for graduate scholarships, but as we said earlier, they would not kick in until fall. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on what you're talking about being eligible for. You would be eligible for the first year graduate scholarships. That would be a good opportunity for you. And other, since you're still enrolled now, any of the awards that are open for anyone who's not continuing as an undergrad would be open for you. In terms of internships, I don't know if there's anything more you would add to that or not.
No, I think that we've covered eligibility for internships.
So we can be awarded after our programs have started, but not yet finished.
Yeah. So if and I can't, Sheila, I think that if you have, if you're starting a master's program in the summer, for example, then the award date for those applications is going to be June 2nd. So your institution would get a check sometime in August or September, right? And so your scholarship would go onto that bill. So that's sort of the way that it works. I hope that clarifies. And yes, so if you go to English.org and you go to the chapter tab, then you'll see a chapter directory. It's based on region, and so if you click any state in the country, so just to belabor New Mexico a little bit longer, if you click on New Mexico, then you'll see links to the 3 chapters in that state. If a chapter has shared any information with us about their social media or their website, then we've linked to it on our page. They aren't necessarily always up to date, the social media links. So I would encourage you to go to the English department web page for any institution that's listed as having a Sigma Tau Delta chapter and look for the faculty advisors information, or look for a chapter Instagram or something like that. No, there isn't a limit. And we have had students apply to the same internship multiple times, right? And one of the things that I recommend that anybody who is applying to an internship do is that I recommend that you get feedback on your cover letter from a faculty member or your campus career center before you send it in. There are a number of things that, there are a number of traps that students often fall into. We are a community of readers and writers. We're Sigma Tau Delta, right? So the readers of these applications and the publishing companies know that you like to read books. So you don't need to tell them that. And you don't need to tell them how much you loved sitting on your window seat as a child, reading a book, because you wouldn't be able to the internship if you weren't that kind of person. So, think about your cover letter as articulating the match between you and the position. It is also really useful to take advantage of some of the opportunities that our partner W.W. Norton has to offer. If you are on, I'll find it after I say this, but if you're on LinkedIn, for example, and you follow the W.W. Norton webpage or the LinkedIn page, then you'll see that the first Friday of every month, they have a webinar about careers in publishing, where they talk about different parts of the industry, and you can learn a huge amount from those webinars. And so it really is to your advantage to learn a little bit about how the industry and these companies work before you start writing your cover letter. But no, there is not a limit at all to how many internships that you can apply to, but please make sure that your internship applications are distinct and targeted toward each program.
To that end, could I ask you, so if they're applying to more than one internship, they can write more than one cover letter, correct?
Oh,
and it should be tailored
yes,
to the specific internship.
Yes, they absolutely should. They absolutely should.
Are there any other questions? No, it looks like we are at the end of our time, and we thank you very much for joining us tonight. I hope that many of you will be inspired to apply for scholarships and grants and awards and internships. Are there any last thoughts you have, Dr. Steele?
I'm just trying to find that link.
Oh.
That's all. I'm just trying to find the link. Because it really is, it's an extraordinary program that they offer, and it's, it shows, I think, the generosity of the company in trying to mentor future publishing professionals. So I found it and I put it in. So you do have to register for the program to get a link, but that's tomorrow afternoon, so you can take advantage of that.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, and we hope you have a good weekend, maybe a good spring break coming up soon, and plenty of time to apply for all of these wonderful opportunities.